Hello, my name is John Jesse, and this is the second video I've done on YouTube. I'm promoting a book I have coming out called Poetry of Life Volume 1, and I have it coming out by the company Publish America, and it's still being printed right now, but I'm making a couple videos right now to try to get the word out about it, because I don't think you can ever do that too soon. Like I said, this is the second video I've done, and I'm not really used to doing them, so please bear with me. And if I go silent for a few seconds, I'm regaining my thoughts and my direction on what to say and how to say things, kind of. And the name of my book is Poetry of Life Volume 1. And my email address is johnjesse73@gmail.com, and I am on Facebook. Okay, now with my book of poetry, I like to talk a lot about real life events and situations. I mean, I don't copy what's happened to people, but I like to base a lot of my poetry off stuff that could happen in real life, how other people might react and think about it, how I feel about things, and I like to very much pull my inspiration from real life, or things that have happened to people, or situations that may have happened, stuff like that. And my writing is very emotional. I try to get as close as I can to how people, to the truth of how people may feel about things, or whatever. Let me see here. And I try to keep the emotions as real as possible. And I'm trying to not repeat myself here. And it's very important that my poetry is easy to understand. I don't use difficult words at all. I try to stay away from that, because all my poetry has is words, and if people don't know what I'm talking about, or don't walk away with anything that's memorable about it, then why am I writing it? If I show something to somebody and they don't understand it, then I probably shouldn't have written it in the first place. So I like to keep it as easily understandable as I can, and make sure that people come away from it with something that they're going to remember, because like I said, words is all I have to work with, so I really put a lot of effort into that. And I also try to keep as much thought-provoking ideas in a real sense of adventure to the reader. If it's boring, then it's not worth writing at all, and I probably need to be staying away from that particular issue, whatever it is I'm writing about. And my poetry is either very story-based, or it has some kind of a message to it, or it's some kind of statement. And it needs to make sense to me. And the book, it doesn't have really any swearing in it, very little, if any. I believe there's better ways of using words than using words that are profanity. I'm not a big believer in that, and also I want it to be as readable to as many people as possible. I don't like to offend people with bad language. I don't see any use in that. Now, if people are offended because I haven't written something the way they agree with, or they don't agree with the idea that I'm bringing forth in my poetry, I can only do so much about that. You know, not everybody's going to agree with everything that I write about, and that's fine. You know, if someone wants to write me in my email, which is johnjesse73@gmail.com, and say, why did you write about this? I just don't agree with this. That's fine. I welcome negative comments as well as positive comments. This is a free country, and I'm never going to say, well, no, you're wrong for making this comment about what I wrote. The way I look at something could be different from the way you look at something, and that's fine. You know, not everybody can agree with each other. And I think that's one of the big problems of the world today, is people aren't as open-minded as they need to be with saying, hey, it's okay if this person doesn't agree with me on this. And I'm welcome to negative comments as well as positive comments. That's okay. And a few of my titles in my book, just so you know kind of what my style is. One of my titles is called Deep as Skin. Another title is 120 Ways. And another title of one of my poems is A Blade of Grass. Just to let you know kind of the style I write. And a lot of times you'll think that a title points to one thing, but it'll point to something completely else, something completely different. It's like, I didn't see that going there. Exactly, that's how I like to make a lot of my stuff. It may sound like it points to one thing, but then you read it and it goes off completely someplace else. I like to be kind of a mystery like that, and you don't know what to expect. But yet, once you read the poem, you will see why I called it that, and it'll actually fit perfectly. And I have different categories in my poems. I have poems that point to the angry side of life, love that hasn't worked out, love that's breaking down, admiring somebody from afar and wishing you could be in their life, knowing that it's just not going to work, and how you feel about that. Just a lot of different areas. And then storytelling poetry of just stuff I've noticed or whatever and have written about. You never know what you're going to expect from me. And then I've written some stuff that points to the darker side of life too. Stuff that's going to be harder to read. From the darker side of life. There isn't that many of them in there, but there is a few that people will read and go, why did he write about that? Most people would not want to touch an issue like that. That's just the ugly side of life. Well, the ugly side of life exists. We see it in the news all the time, and you can't get away from the ugly side of life. I mean, we can choose to ignore it, but it's still going to be there. And I've written about things that are just kind of hard to read about, like I just said. But I think they need to be in there. And I've got more poems that come from the ugly side of life, but I could only really get so many of them in there this time because I wanted to work on getting the book out and all that. I've got poems for a whole nother book, but can only get so many of them in with this one. And like I said, the book's coming out through Publish America. It's being printed right now. It is actually available to order. There's a web link for it, which I'm not going to post right now because we're still kind of trying to figure out the best way to actually get to it. So right now, kind of only my friends and family can get to it for purchase right now. But I'm still trying to spread the word as widely as I can, because it's been proven time and time again that professionals in whatever field, even before the product is actually available, they're trying to spread the word as widely as they possibly can, because that's what makes a career. And the more interest is shown in my book, the sooner a lot of interest is shown in my book, then hopefully Publish America will see, hey, this guy's really putting in his work and people are responding, people are asking about it. We need to go ahead and publish more and more and more, and hopefully, this will take off me as a career, because that's exactly what I'm wanting. I'm like anybody else who has a dream and just wants to see it happen, is willing to do just about anything that they can do to make it happen. And YouTube is the best way to do it, especially when you don't have anything to work with right now. So I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, and I want to thank YouTube for being available for doing that. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And once again, my email address is johnjesse73@gmail.com, and I'm also on Facebook. So, like I said, any questions or whatever you have, no problem, ask them. And this isn't the only one, and this isn't the only post I'm going to be put on either. I'm slowly getting used to it. You know, I'm slowly kind of getting over the nervousness of doing it, but you know, I'm doing it, and I already put one on there, and this is the second one. I'm going to be putting more on there because I want to be noticed, and I want word to get around. I want that more than anything. So thank you, and I will see you again later on my third post because it definitely will be coming out soon. Thank you. Goodbye.